There we go. Right. Hello, everyone. I'm Roger. You may find me online as lrogerorrit. I'm the event organizer for today, and welcome to Dev Talk. Dev Talk is a series I've been planning to do for a while, where we basically do an hour-ish talk with different developers about different topics. Starting today, um, I try to do one every month, approximately. Um, No, it's not being called. Don't worry. It's just an old camera. So I'll try to make an episode every month and basically just do a different topic every time. Um, Today we're going to talk about communities. I'm glad and I thank Michael or iProjecitonix to join me. So
Yeah, of course.
Michael is well also known as our iProjectionist. Basically created Disneyland Wales over 6 years ago. Nowadays, basically he's managed to grow the group to over 11,000 members on Roblox and have a Discord server of over 2.5 members. Um, Making it one of the most active communities on of any like Roblox theme park on Roblox. So first of all, thank you for joining me, and I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. So when you invited me onto here, I didn't really expect didn't really expect Disneyland Wales to kind of be like the main topic. Yeah, but you probably all know me as the Disneyland Wales owner. Um, yeah, I created it 6 years ago. Did not expect it to be this big now. Didn't even expect to be on Roblox still at this point. um, yeah, I think I don't really know what else to say about myself, to be honest. I'm 20. Not sure if that's relevant. Um, but yeah, I started when I was. If I'm 20 now, no, I'm 21. I forgot my age for a minute.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised because like you're like just 3 days younger than I. And I'm like I'm 21.
So I must have started this when I was what, like 15. Um, so yeah, that's a bit crazy to me, but I don't regret any moment of it. I've enjoyed.
So having introduced ourselves, let's start. Just before we start, a quick note. I'm gonna be do I'm gonna be making a guilded server soon. Just need time to set everything up. Um, I'll share the link through my Twitter and probably at the end of this talk. However, it's still empty. So yeah. Uh, okay, so let's start. So let's talk about communities. So you've done this for 6 years. You've run your community. Yeah, it's actually quite good.
Yeah. Um,
So how would what's a community for you, Michael? Like how would you define your community?
I think we can all agree that like a community that we'd want to be in would be a safe and happy one, and that's kind of how I want to say Disneyland Wales is. Um, Obviously, for you to feel safe, you need to feel happy. They both like kind of support each other. Um, I think those are the main two important ones. Um, Obviously, if there's a group of people that all feel the same way, then you're doing something right.
So so you said that basically everyone tries to like at the end you want to like be part of something. So when you feel part of something, I can share your experiences with others. It's actually like especially for games, it actually like makes the experience 10 times better.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
but like there's also other aspects that help a community grow other than the community itself.
Yeah.
So what do you think, like for example, from your perspective as the creator, what do you think is like the main aspects or most important aspects when creating, growing, and also maintaining?
Um, Well, I think to start off with, you need to have the right people to run this community. I think if you don't have the right people, it's going to flop very quickly. So you need to spend as much time as possible kind of making sure you have the right people that can help you and help the community as well at the same time. Um, they need to be likable, sensible, I can handle a lot. Because as you know, communities can run into many ups and downs. Um, Preparation as well, I think, is a good one. Um, like I said before, a lot of different situations can happen. I've been in way too many that I never thought I'd get into. Um, but if you're prepared to kind of handle the unknown and with the people that can help you as well, um, then I think you should be fine. I think one that I've learned as well from experience is patience. Obviously, 6 years ago, I was like, "Oh, let's just make a game," and then a bunch of friends like became managers, and obviously, when it started to get more serious, I had a lot more patience and took my time on where I want this community to go and what kind of people I want running it. And yeah, so today, as you can see, I have the most amazing team, and all of those factors have made it good.
So talking about the team. So what are the so let's say for example, what are the aspects or like quality you look for like in when trying to like hire someone to help you run the community?
What you mean, like what I look
So
for in someone?
yeah.
Um, Judging by how much happens in the DLW team, I think I'm just gonna go by what my management team is currently like, and that's just that I think they're patient. I think that they can handle a lot, and most importantly, that they have my back and the community's back, and they truly believe in the community, and that's what I look for in someone. As long as they truly like believe in what we're doing, then I think that's the strongest community that you can have right there.
So I mean I think it's quite clear Disneyland Wales has become a success. I mean it's lasted throughout like 6 years. It's grown quite a lot. When we talked before about, you mentioned that basically the community was one of like the main aspects, one of the key aspects to help this success to make it
Yeah.
grow as much. So, how has it helped grow Disney and Wales? How has the community made it make like Disney and Wales different or better than other games of similar type?
Um, this I kind of love this question because I know so many people out there just are like, "Oh, DLW has this intense and crazy following." Like a lot of people think that our followers are just like absolutely insane. But in a way, I think that's a good thing because if people weren't crazy about us, then that means we're not doing something right. Um, Especially for 6 years going strong as well, we must be doing something right. And with such a community like that, it doesn't feel like a community. It feels like a family. And I know it's a bit cringy to say that sometimes, but it does, and I mean that in like the most honest way possible.
Yeah, because in a way, like you spend so many times, so many like hours, and with them, which is like you get to know
Yeah,
them.
you get to go through so much with them, and you always get excited when a new project starts or training for a new show. And it always feels like people have your back, and that's what I love about it. Um, yeah, but it hasn't. None of this has let us down. It's been going strong for 6 years, and I truly believe that we're doing something right for it to come this far.
Yeah, I mean, you could say I've worked in many places, many theme parks
Yeah.
as developer, managing. Um, to be honest, Disneyland Wales has always been probably the community that has struck me the most because basically it's been always like the most active, the most
Yeah.
and one of the bigger ones, even though like maybe by size compared with the others, it's like not as big. So for example, Blox World, like that
Yeah.
group is huge. It has last time I checked, I think it was like 200,000 members in the group, but that is not like a community focused group, which is okay because it's another way of running things.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
in a way, like running Disneyland Wales, being part of it was actually quite. So it was quite nice because seeing how many people are excited for this new ride, this new project, this new show.
Yeah.
Um, it makes those hours where you sometimes think, why am I doing this?
Yeah. I feel like
So,
as well, a lot of the same people come back all the time, and I'm trying to. I don't think I've seen something like that in a lot of other games. Normally, if another park opens the ride, it's normally like a quite just a lot of like new people. But I feel like with DLW, it's just a lot of the same guests, and they've been sticking around for years. Like I know some guests that have been here
I know some
like
staff
three,
members
four
that have
years
been like
ago.
for years. Like for example, I think he's actually in the chat.
Yeah,
Uh, ramen lover.
yeah,
Like
he's the man, one of the managers.
he's so
He's
I worked
amazing.
at Disney Wales. I was the corner how many like 3 years ago, 4 years ago,
Yeah,
like
something like
that.
that.
Like he's been helping manage the community for like 3 4 years now,
Yeah,
and it's always nice to like see people stick with you. Um,
yeah,
and also, it also helps because you start building trust with them, and you can actually like help them
yeah,
have them do
exactly.
more things, which actually gives you more time to focus on, let's say, improving the park, developing new experiences for it.
Yeah, and
Um,
I can say Ramen always has a bunch of new ideas. Even though like our activity is peaking right now, it's still Ramen always has like an idea of what else we can do, and it just changes things up. And I can't thank him or the management team enough for it.
so I mean, the community has gone from a small one to a very big one, and running a big community isn't easy. Managing so many people can become a hassle.
Yeah.
People at the end are people, even though they're great, they're still people. So throughout the 6 years, what are some like strategies or tricks you've learned to actually like manage this community? And are there some that maybe haven't worked? And why do you think that is?
Um, I do want to head back to the point where I said running such a big community and managing so many people. I just want to like say again that having like the right people in the leadership position really does help because that's just one of the biggest things that I've had from experience. Um, but we do have a lot of strategies and other things that we kind of have in place in the community, more specifically within the staff one, because obviously, no matter what community it's going to be, you're going to have those ups and downs, and you need to be prepared for it. Um, we have, like a step three, like warning kind of thing if we do have some issues. Um, we when we do discuss like what other things we can do, we always kind of put ourselves in their position to see how it would affect them first. Make sure it's not too harsh, and because after all, it is like a Roblox game, isn't it? So you don't want to feel like
Yeah,
they're breaking the law,
it's not
but
it's not a
we still
job.
want to,
It's not
yeah,
something that
we
and it's
still want to make
something
sure that we're running
it's
it
it's
correctly.
it's also something they're giving their free time to do.
Yeah,
Like if
exactly.
they made a small mistake, it's like I've seen people go crazy about they made a grammar mistake, and it's like it's
Yeah,
just a grammar mistake. It's a
exactly.
Roblox game.
Yeah. Um, but I think things we have in place is working really because we're in this position now. I'm on a dev talk with you discussing how important communities are. So
So I mean, communities in a way help like engagement grow. It's like, and after all, we all know both as game developers that engagement basically is one of the key aspects of a game. You can have a great game, but if you don't manage to engage your audience to have them come back, it's
Yeah,
be a dead game. You've wasted your time doing it.
exactly.
So how do you keep your community engaged?
I think one of the biggest things that stand out right now is our entertainment. I feel like the live entertainment is what brings most people back. Um, they are only on weekends because obviously we want to be fair that people can make it, and I know weekdays can get a bit busy for people with school and everything. Uh, but the in-game, I feel like the entertainment is the peak of what engages most of the players. But we also have other things, like meet and greets that we announce on the Discord that people can check and then join the game for a meet and greet. We have other interactions with the characters, like hide and seek is one of my favorites, which is kind of funny to me because it is actually kind of fun. Um, and a lot of the staff, ride rides with guests as well. It's just all like anything that happens in game, we try and make it as engaging as possible because otherwise, what would be the point? You know?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, in a way, it's also like how to make things so it's not like, oh, let's do this thing again for like the 50th time.
yeah,
So, for example, something that has worked for me in other projects, and I don't know if it's worked for you because I've seen you implement it a bit. It's like, for example, add add so have like staff be able to operate right,
yeah,
um, because after all, theme parks, at least like on Roblox, uh, they're like most of the audience comes there to roleplay in a way,
yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that is like I don't know if it's because I like clicking buttons, I like talking with others, but I think operations in a way adds like another layer to a ride because it's like they can ride the ride,
yeah,
but it makes it feel more alive. Um, just like
yeah,
you said, for example, so having people interact with guests. So the like so you have let's say a player who has come to Disneyland Wales for the first time.
mm,
Um, what are the ways um you have, or in what way would you like them to join the community? So how do you have them do? Oh, this is interesting. Let's maybe join it.
yeah. So I think if a new player joined that doesn't know what the whole thing is, I think the reason you would join a Disneyland game is to kind of see what rides there are and the exact reasons why you'd go to one in real life, really. Um, but I think that's where the importance of the staff step in, and they're going to read the chat and everything and see how well they're talking to everyone else. I feel like that would be the first step, and then ideally we'd want them to join on a weekend so that they can see all the activity happening that we do weekly. um it is a bit more difficult on weekdays because obviously a lot of the staff are in school and everything. um but we do try and encourage more meet and greets happening in the weekdays, and I feel like a new player walking through the park, walking through Adventureland, then seeing Mickey just walk past and then be like, wait a minute, then join the line and go see them. Um, and maybe that would make them a bit more interested. Um, but yeah,
Yes.
ideally, I'd want them to join on a weekend.
So so another problem, like more than problem, is like uh yeah, it's a problem. So it's time zone. So basically, your
Yeah,
park is more oriented, time oriented. So
yeah, the
more like
UK, yeah,
Europe time oriented. Most groups theme parks work on like usually the east coast of the US.
yeah,
So how is it handling those two times? Because it's not really that easy handling like a good time that works for people in the UK and the US. Because
yeah.
maybe if then in one it's really early and the other one it's really late. So how is it managing that?
I think this is actually one of the things about Disneyland Wales that I kind of dislike the most, because 8 p.m. show happening in Disneyland Wales means it's like 12 p.m. in California, and that would mean that people in California might not even see the park in daytime at all, unless they stay up till like 8 p.m. their time, and it would be like 6 a.m. for the UK, and they'd see the sunrise, and that's it. Um, that is something that I dislike because I love Disneyland Wales in the daytime. It's one of my favorite times. Um, but we do have a lot of automatic shows that happen in like really late at night, so those people kind of have a chance to see the shows. There's a siren. Sorry.
Yeah, no worry.
um, we have Captain Mickey in Berry Harbour that runs to like 6 a.m. so that those people have a chance to see that. Obviously, all the rides are open 24 hours, so that's not a problem. Um, but when we have staff that also live in that time zone, it helps because that means they can get on and entertain those guests as well in that time zone.
So
Would like it
yeah, so
to be suitable for everyone.
you mentioned before the fact that, for example, for meet and greet, you announce them in Discord.
Yeah,
So I think we can say that basically nowadays platforms like Discord or Guilded become the home of the communities. They are what basically we use to announce stuff, to have people communicate between themselves. So other than that, other like for example, using social media, using Twitter, using TikTok,
yeah,
how do you think it's helped growing, maintaining, and also promoting your community? Because for example, I know like I think it was a year ago, the boom in theme parks on Roblox came because of like some random TikTok videos.
yeah. um, I think TikTok is pretty good because a lot of young people use that, and that means we can like kind of put their interests with Roblox like onto their screens. Um, I know that's helped so much. The amount of views we get on TikTok is pretty good. Um, but yeah, I think we use Twitter a lot more for kind of updates, where TikTok's more of like, look what you can do in the park, if that makes sense. Um, YouTube is kind of more of like stuff we post to put on the game page. It's not really meant to engage people to come visit the park. It's meant to just kind of be there when
It's more
people
like a
click on the game.
showcase.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like TikTok and Instagram is kind of like our engaging point.
So for example, for let's say Instagram or yeah, let's say for example Instagram. So it's there. It's a photo. It's not a video. So it's harder to like um show
Yeah,
things.
that's true.
So for example, what do you focus when on Instagram? Is it just like let's say, oh, we have this update, and you have a photo of that update? So what what are the different ways a bit you run like TikTok, Instagram?
Um, One of the things I like about Instagram is that, um, like you said, the photos sometimes don't really help, but the stories on Instagram, have you heard of that? Like the story thing?
Yeah.
We use that a lot. Sometimes we do like challenges, like they get to screenshot it and then tick like what they do. I think we before we did like a Halloween one where I'm trying to think of the best example that we've used Instagram. Um, I think we had some sort of template before where it says your favorite ride and then like a blank image. It was basically something like that, and then they'd go into the park, take a picture, and kind of like put it on that template. So it's kind of making their own. Um, I'm not sure what the word is, but it's like it's hard to explain, but it gets them involved in something physical.
Yeah, so basically it's
If that
like,
makes
oh,
sense.
oh look what I did, and like the friends of that
Yeah,
those persons see it, and it's like, oh, maybe that's interesting, and they start sharing it in a way. So like In what ways do you think Disneyland Wales gives back to its community?
Um, the birds. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry.
Try to think about this one.
If you want, we can come back to this one later. Um,
Yeah.
so let's continue talking a bit about like promotion. So, in what
Okay.
ways do you promote the community? How did you first do it when Disneyland Wales started? How do you do it now? Like, what are the differences between like how you did it 6 years ago when it was a small community, not as known, and in what ways do you do it right now? And for example, do you see like the community also promoting in what ways like the community itself has promoted itself, but also how has it changed throughout its growth?
Um, I think the main difference from now until then would probably be um, just kind of how I want to say strict, but I don't mean it in a way that we kind of like hold people by their throats. um, Obviously, back then it wasn't a big park, it wasn't a big community, so we just kind of did it for fun. But now that we realize that it's something that we enjoy doing and more seriously, then it's kind of like we need to be careful what goes out to our community. So obviously we want, all the staff to kind of resemble the group and themselves in a positive way. Where back then we did really care about that because it was just like a fun project. Um, yeah, but I'd say we just take it a lot more seriously, but not in the way that it sounds.
Yeah, so basically, it's just like at the end, like in the same way, for example, I'm sort of representing Roblox when doing this type of event. Staff members are represent your group at the end. They're what like they're what guests see. They're what
Yeah,
visitors see. So at the end, you want them to make like a safe place for everyone. And
exactly.
going to this topic, so big communities again, they're hard to manage, but at the end, we want to make a safe and inclusive place for everyone. So, what tricks, what ways do you keep your community safe, inclusive?
Um, we do when people join the team, we have kind of like a handbook, like a rule thing, where it states that if you break the rules, that you could be terminated. Obviously, I don't have a drink.
Don't worry.
Sorry.
You want to get
Um, and obviously, we're not. We support everyone. We have no limits to that. Um, Obviously, I'm a part of the LGBT community, so that's quite important for us to keep them safe without getting any um, hate crimes in. Um, that goes for a lot of the guests as well. If they start to say like mean things, we warn them and then remove them from the game or the Discord if we have to. Is it alright if I go get some water real quick? I'm sorry. I don't know why my throat started to go
yeah,
dry.
sure, sure, sure. Don't worry.
I'll be right back.
So, anyways, once we wait, thank you for staying here. I hope you're enjoying this. Just a reminder, we're gonna do a Q&A at the end, about 15 minutes Q&A. Um, we'll do it in chat. So basically, there's a section that's called FAQ. I'll enable it once we start the Q&A. And basically, the way it will work is just ask. And if you like a question, you just upvote it. And then that way it allows us to see the most voted questions. And we can just start answering those in order. So yeah, are you enjoying the talk so far?
Right. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about
No worries. Okay,
that.
so let's go back to engagement. Um,
Okay.
how do you think running special events, such like let's say Halloween events, Christmas events, Easter events, makes like engages your audience and also your community, rather than the fact that it's a different thing they come to see? So, in what ways do you think those type of events help?
Um, I think the most important thing about the events would be offering something different from what they'd normally experience when they come, when there's no event happening. Um, for example, Easter, Halloween, and Christmas, there's completely different parades and stage shows and fireworks shows. A lot of them do come back, but that's because I do pay some money to go towards them, so I don't want that to waste, most importantly. But because they only run for, say, around a month, it when it returns, it means that they can see it again. What I normally do is that I'd run a specific Easter show for only two seasonal events. So last year's Easter event, I made a new parade, and then this year it came back. So next year, ideally, I'd make a new one. But um, if people enjoy it, then I extend it a bit more. For example, the Halloween stage show, people have loved that so much that it's coming back again this year, and probably will again next year. But this year I have changed it a little bit so that even though people are kind of disappointed that it's back, they would want to go watch it because it's a little bit different again. So yeah, changing things up and just bringing new stuff is important to us because we don't want people to be bored when they come into the game and be like, "Oh, it's that again."
So, for example, something I see that your group does, or that you implemented, that I haven't seen done in a lot of other places, and I do admit I actually find it quite interesting, is the fact that you basically have an autograph system, something like that, where like in real life people can ask characters to like sign some
Yeah,
autograph books. You have that too. So that brings us into like also we can actually bring out some rare characters for special events. We can have people like we can have like different rarity of characters. So
yeah.
what was the idea bit behind like the signature system, and um, how do you think it's helped also engage?
I think one of the autograph system has been one of the best things we've ever done, really, because before we had that, a lot of people would role play and chat with like the little stars thing. They'd be like, "Oh, signs book" or whatever. We'd always have people doing that with the characters. So Ryan made that entire system. It's fantastic. That whole thing is. It's made people be more excited about meeting the characters, especially like you said with seasonal events. We can bring out villains and they can have their autographs. um, I just love that whole idea. It excites me so much. Brings a whole nother level of excitement when meeting characters because they're not just meeting them; they get to bring something back with them afterwards, and that's really cool.
And it's just a way to like you can have them players, especially more younger players, show their friends maybe
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh, you have this, you have that, and it's like, oh, if you want to get it now, you can get it. Like it's only this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, for example, one of the things I saw you did then is especially like I think it was 3 years ago, something like that, is adding more like emotes to characters, giving more ways to like express themselves.
Yeah, I feel like the emotes were so limited before, and now that you can animate and make your own emotes as well, that just helps a lot. Especially with this live animation thing where you can like record yourself. It makes them look a lot more realistic movement wise. I'm hoping to implement that a lot more into the group as well. It's just so cool how we can expand on their emotions now.
I think like now we have, for example, what you mentioned about like the live animation thing. For example, now we have faces too. We have animated
Yeah,
faces. I think that is gonna be like a really big upgrade to a lot of stuff. It's
Yeah.
gonna be much more work because animating a face isn't the same as animating a body. It can be a lot of work because there's a lot of things to tweak. But I
Yeah.
think it just brings stuff so much alive. So for example, in Haunted Mansion, um, like I rigged and animated for like 80 something characters.
That's crazy.
Um, yeah, rigging so many characters can be tedious.
But that was
Uh,
before the face thing came out, wasn't it? So
yeah, so basically, I mean, the mouse artwork, and basically one of the things I noticed that brought a character to life, but like so much more to life, is the fact that they blinked.
yeah,
It changes like the fact that oh, it's just a model that they're moving to
yeah,
like oh, it looks alive. So I think it's these small details that, especially now with faces, that will allow us to bring things so much to life.
yeah.
So talking about engagement, let's. I don't know if you've actually looked into this for your park. So have you actually looked into like localizing Disneyland Wales, and how do you think, if you've done it, localizing has actually helped to promote the game and the community?
What would you mean by localizing? Sorry.
So basically translating the game.
Oh, like languages and stuff. Um, I think I did look into it, but I don't think I did anything with it. Um, Obviously there is a lot of people in different countries that visit the game, so I think that would be a good idea. Especially if because a lot of people still ask in game when the shows happen and stuff. And obviously we do have things around the park that explain when they happen and where to look. But that's a good point that maybe we should start using that so that people that don't understand English can look and then do it themselves without getting confused.
Yeah, especially now that Roblox is expanding to like so many places. Because
Yeah,
before it was like, oh yeah, more than 60% of the player base is from America, is from English speaking countries.
yeah,
But it's not like that anymore. Roblox is a global phenomenon.
yeah,
Um,
literally.
and so 6 years, it's a long time. Um, how do you think? So have you how how has the Disneyland Wales community evolved through these 6 years? And where do you see like Disneyland Wales in 6 years from now?
Oh gosh. Well, I can't even imagine this group existing in another 6 years. I didn't even know it would happen when I started the group, to be honest. um, it's hard to imagine, but I don't have any plans to stop doing it, so we'll see what happens then. Um, but I think the way of like the group evolving, the fact that it's been around for 6 years gives everyone a sense of how much there is to it and makes well, hopefully makes the place feel even more special that they're in this community is that it's been around for so long and done so well.
Yeah. So do you think? So you say you don't know how it'll be in 6 years. So let's say for any reason you quit Roblox, you move on for. So do you see the community like stepping up, someone stepping in your place and keep running the park, or do you think it's gonna die after?
Um, if I were to step away, I think I'd put someone else in my shoes. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. I don't really want it to go. Um, but if I didn't have a choice, then I'd probably do what Movieland has done and just kept it as a showcase for everyone to kind of still experience it and kind of live in a piece of good history or something.
Yeah, it's actually when it's sometimes it's just really hard to move on because it's like you've done like it's
You're
been
attached
six
to it, yeah.
years. It's 6 years, but usually it's more because it's like okay 6 years, but then like let's say 2 years of making and
Yeah.
growing it and managing it. It's like get quite attached to it. It's like your own child.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's just really hard to like um, give away. So
Yeah.
going back to the community and it and the feedback they give. So is there like for example any specific piece of feedback or comments that someone from the community has given to you, which like for example has now evolved to let's say a key aspect of Disneyland Wales?
Um, I think I'm not sure because we get so much feedback like daily. I can't really put my finger on it. We kind of just if we look at it because we do have a feedback channel and a suggestions channel in our Discord. What we do normally is that if we're on studio and see a good suggestion or feedback, say there's like a bug in the game or suggestion to add something to the game, we just kind of do it then and there if it's easy. If it's a big one, we kind of go into more planning.
So do you have to, let's say, for example, the community vote on, oh, we like this suggestion, we don't like that one, and maybe have them not argue,
Yeah.
but like, let's say, discuss about, oh, why do I think this is a good one, and maybe like self complimenting their ideas.
Oh, I actually just thought of one. Um, the autograph system was actually highly suggested, so that is actually one of them. Yeah, I just thought of that. Sorry. So we had so much like everyone just wanted autographs for some reason. um,
I mean, it's worked. So,
yeah, it really did work. So that is probably one of the main ones that we've had from community feedback.
so you've mentioned, for example, that Disneyland Wales is mainly focused in a way in like live entertainment. So yeah,
Yeah.
you guys have a lot of parade shows, fireworks shows, stage shows. So I don't know if Disneyland Wales started that way. So how did so I guess probably it started more like ride based, um, and then started moving on to more shows and more like entertainment. So how did was that in a way some sort of reaction of seeing oh the community like that and maybe not so much of that?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, when it first started, like this whole project, it was just like a hub, kind of like WED has with all like the teleports. And then every weekend we'd have like a meet and greet area in the hub, and a lot of people would come for the live stuff, like the meet and greets. So when we opened the park, we didn't have any live entertainment at all. We just kind of had It's Magical in the corner, which is an automatic show if no one knows what that is. Um, and then we did start doing this like live entertainment thing every weekend, and that's just when like the visits just spiked. Like people would literally just come on weekends and not come in the weekdays. So we knew that was a big part of how we could build on a community, and that's why people would want to join the team is to be involved in this like big weekend thing that we do. Um, yeah, I feel like when something's real, like live, it has more like you know what I mean. It feels more
It has
personal
its
and
own like magic in a way.
yeah,
I
it
think another
feels
layer. It's like going back to what you mentioned before about like having ride operations and stuff. It's adding another layer of again role play
yeah,
to the
yeah,
game. It makes people feel oh look I just came in the right time. Maybe I should come at these times to see what happens.
yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
in a way, it's also something they can't experience always. They can only experience in certain times,
Yeah,
and scarcity makes basically people like it's like, oh, I can only come back for this week. For example, let's say Halloween. So
yeah,
I'll go check this out, and then I'll go back. It's like, oh, I wonder what they will do next year. Maybe I could join this and stay alert.
yeah, exactly.
So I think we'll start to wrap up this talk,
Cool.
but before we do, I have one last question. Um, is there something you would want to say to your community?
Um, just a massive thank you. Without you, literally, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. So, and a big thank you to like every single team member, including all the managers of DLW. I say it in any like kind of interview I have. It's literally like without those amazing people, this literally wouldn't exist. So I wouldn't be able to do it by myself.
Well, um, thank you, Michael. Thank you for tuning this up. I
Yeah,
hope
thank you for having me.
everyone in the chat has actually had uh, has enjoyed it and it's helped them. So now we'll open the Q&A section. Um, give me a second.
Okay.